Shalom. Happy Monday. It's the beginning of the week, and it's also the first quarter moon. So we're 1 week into this month's cycle, this lunar cycle. So I'm here to do the first quarter activation reading. We did the new moon activation reading last week. If you missed it, feel free to tune in. Hit pause on this one and catch up with that, or just follow along and stay present with the live energy flowing and incoming. So while you guys are tuning in, I'm going to shuffle a little bit as usual. Go ahead and take this moment to let go of any thoughts without judging them. Whatever they are, let them go. Good, bad, whatever. Just create an empty, neutral space so that it can be filled with some divine transmissions, some thoughts that are higher, elevated, more important, perhaps, than the ones we've been circulating throughout our minds. If we wish to receive these divine transmissions, we've got to create the environment for it to happen. And there is no space or place for the information to enter if we fill that space with those things we've been thinking every day, those things we've been fearing, those things we've been anxious about, those things we've been happy about, whatever. If we want new information, create the space. And I'm meeting you in the ever-present now, in the eternal place, outside of time and space, inside the heart of the one. So what the first week has shown us, up until now, from the new moon until now, has been just like a hint of what's to come for the rest of the cycle. So as usual, at the first quarter activation, the question is, what's going on so far? Where am I at right now? Where are we at as one right now? What is the current theme that we've now stepped with both feet into? What is the challenge of the moment that is being presented to us from every angle, inwardly and outwardly? And how does that challenge turn into a gift each time we rise above it? Each time we move through the challenge and respond to the universe in a way that's different than maybe we would have in the past. What kind of alchemy is going on with that current challenge and gift? And as we move through it, who is the ally? What's something that has been blocking our ability to use our power in the most efficient way to move through this current time? Okay. Current challenge. Of course, the tower. The tower has been coming up so much. This symbol for me has been coming up so much every day in one way or another. I'm seeing energies, patterns, themes related to this archetypal energy, this falling apart and coming together. So right now, this being our biggest challenge for the collective consciousness, how does it apply to us individually and collectively? I think that it's very obvious from a collective perspective why the tower is at the forefront right now. Because the world is in a state of chaos and stress and falling apart. There's a lot falling apart, and we have to remember that in the falling apart is the coming together. There is no rise without the fall, and vice versa. There's no fall without the rise. One needs the other. This is the duality of our reality. So right now it's very obvious. We can see that with all of the scary news circulating, so much destruction, so much pain, suffering, literal fires all over the world, we can see how this would be the biggest challenge right now for the collective consciousness. And then individually, how is this reflecting in your life? I can think of many ways personally how I relate to this energy right now. The most important thing is to understand how when this energy manifests as a challenge, what are the ways that we can approach it and perform alchemy and turn this energy into something positive. So how does this look, first of all, in a destructive way coming up in your life? How does it look as a challenge? It could look like things falling apart, things not going the way that you thought they were going to go, things taking a major turn. Or it could be that they're not taking a turn yet, but you know it is coming, and perhaps there's a part or parts of you that is resisting the change you know is inevitable. So the challenge can be letting go, becoming adaptable, needing to be more adaptable. Maybe it's hard to let go and be adaptable to the certain dramatic changes that are taking place right now. Perhaps things have been falling apart for a while, old ways. And some of us are getting trapped in hopelessness and feeling like there is no rebuilding of the tower to be done. It's impossible. But that's not true. That's not true. The old model will collapse when it does not serve anymore, when it is obsolete. And then, of course, a new one is to be formed. So the challenge would be a lack of adaptability. The universe is calling for us to be more adaptable right now, to sharpen that skill, to cultivate that adaptability. So how can we see the ways that we're attached to certain outcomes, or how we maybe are attached to our path going a certain way, moving in a certain direction? How can we right now do our best to relax, to open up a little bit more to the mystery of life? To say, if things didn't go this way or that way, if they don't go as my plan A or plan B or even my plan C, that it's okay. That I'm going to soften up a little bit and not be so dead set on this thing unfolding exactly in this way or that. I'm going to look ahead and I'm going to say, it's okay. No matter what way it goes, I will be fine. I need not forget that the universe is always conspiring in my favor. Because the highest part of myself, the part of myself that will last forever, is one with Source, is one with all. And that is a very intelligent source. It's self-sustainable. So it's very logical for me to know and never forget that miracles are on their way, that the universe always is conspiring in my favor, in the favor of the highest good of myself, the highest self, which is one with all of life. So it's okay. Adaptability is key. And I know that change is the only constant in life, so I'm going to roll with whatever happens. I'm going to look at the places that I've been particularly stubborn and the spaces I've been getting sucked into around plans that I have or strategies or building a certain project or path for myself. I'm going to look at those things that I've been giving the most energy to. And I'm not going to stop because I'm going to keep going for my dreams, but I'm going to soften up around the edges a little bit. I'm going to honor the space in between where the light gets in and adds extra magic to the unfolding plan. Adding elements that I could have never foreseen. Because that's a mystery of the divine, and that's the romance in life. happens in the spaces in between, in unexpected little ways. So I'm not going to be so rigid. I'm going to remember what's more important than anything I'm working on right now in this reality, which is the light that perseveres for eternity, the part of myself that is beyond these things I'm doing, the part of myself that will exist beyond the grave, that will go on beyond all of these projects I'm doing right now. So before I turn over the ally, I'm going to turn over the card that will show us what has been the biggest thing in our way of cultivating this adaptability. This is the Six of Swords, and this is a transition. This is being on the other side, already having passed through the troubled waters. It's a rite of passage. And swords, we can look at it as thoughts. The swords are like our thoughts. So we're dealing with the realm of the mind. So it would look like this. We're still so stuck in our heads with what has happened to us already, all the troubles we've been through, all of the strife we've just experienced. We're holding on to that pain and forgetting that we're on the other side. It's almost like there's a part of us, this victim consciousness, that wants to remain in the murky waters, forgetting to believe that all of our efforts to pull ourselves out are for something. All of those efforts are going to carry us somewhere. There's got to be a goal. You know, and so a lot of us, I feel, have been stuck more than we need to be in the past, in the pains of the past. And it's in our mind, it's in our heads. And that's where everything begins, the strife, but also the joy. And so we can begin to take the reins and shift things inside so that we can shift things in our manifested reality. So we have an opportunity right now. Let's not so much worry about how we're still stuck in the pain of our past. Let's see what the more important idea is behind that that's trying to get our attention. You always want to look at the opposite idea for the revelation. It's hidden inside. The opposite is hidden inside, and that's the key. The occult is the key. What is hidden is the key. What you don't see is the key. So what we do see here is stuck in the pain of our past. We're stuck in the pain of our past. So we're being given an opportunity to get out of it, to realize now more than ever before that we're on the other side, that we don't have to be stuck there anymore. It's as though the universe was waiting to carry us to this point. For some reason, this point in space and time is when we have the best energy collectively to fully move into this new chapter, to accept this rite of passage. Whereas before, we may have all completed our painful missions that we've just been through. We may have all been completing them at different points in time and space, relatively close to each other, but still different, right? We all were completing our missions, and then we all had a certain degree of integration and processing to do. But now we're coming to a point where we are all able to meet in a space to collectively move forward all at once, maximizing our potential as a collective consciousness. This is how we subconsciously, how the subconscious collective mind, the universal mind, is accessing our shared power to the fullest by waiting till the perfect moment to release this opportunity for us to meet in alignment and all at once take that final step so that it's much more powerful. So it's okay that we've been stuck in the pain of our past because we've been doing whatever it is we each needed to do individually. But now together, in this moment, we are receiving the truth that we are supported here now to take a leap into the new chapter. We don't have to be stuck on that side. We've gone past the hardest part of it. The tower needs to be rebuilt. It can be, and it will be. We just need to recognize that we're not stuck. And the ally, as we move into the building of this new tower, is 7. So we had a 6, we had a 7, and a 16. Interesting, right? Interesting numbers. 6, 7, and a 16. And this is the 7 of Cups. And it's about meditation and illusion. And Cups is emotions. It's the suit of water, the heart. So it's meditation and illusion around these matters. What does your heart really want as you move forward into rebuilding this tower, creating a new foundation to move forward with? So this new tower could look like many different things for each of us. It could look quite literally like a new home and a new job or whatever, but ultimately it's just about a new design in your material reality. So however subtle is not necessarily the point, because any change, small or big, is profound at this time. So it just looks like redirecting our energies. It could look like, again, a new house and a new job, or it could look like just shifting the furniture around in your room. Creating a new material ritual for you to move within, so that it produces different effects on the unseen, in the unseen worlds, in the unseen dimension. Because every little thing that we shift in our physical and material ritual produces great effects energetically, mentally, which is then quite physically, quite literally, because everything begins in the mind. So one little thing, and I'll give you an example that's so small but so profound. If you have chairs in your house that you hate, but you sit on them every day, and every time you go to sit on it, you stub your toe because it's a heavy chair. And so you find yourself cursing your reality. And even if you say, oh, I'm not going to let it get to me anymore, I'm used to it now. It's been a year that I've been doing this. That shit is still annoying. And maybe it isn't bothering you, but it's certainly not feeling good. So you could either have those chairs and either feel shitty, or maybe you really did get used to it in some sick way, and now it's a neutral experience. But you can throw those chairs out, and you could get the best chair ever that you love and is so comfortable and brings joy to your life and prompts you to be grateful, to cultivate gratitude, a frequency of gratitude. That's the key. So you can have things in your environment placed a certain way, set up a certain way, that cultivates more garbage into your aura. Just shit, garbage, negativity. Or you can create a space in your life for you to move around in that is joyful, that promotes that cultivation of gratitude, the highest frequency. So it's all about how we design our physical reality, our rooms, our home, our workspace, our car. So however small the changes are, they redirect energies in profound ways. And in the worlds that you don't see, that's where the greatest shifting happens. So we need to make sure that as we rebuild that tower, and again, for some of you, that may look like a new living space, or a new job, or a new car, or whatever, new relationship. For some of you, it may look like playing with the feng shui of your room, in your home. Or it may look like a haircut. Or it may look like going back to school, or whatever it is that you're shifting in this material reality to provide a foundation for a new beginning for you, for walking a new path, whatever it is you need to do. Make sure you're making those changes from the heart. Make sure you're not starting a new relationship because you're just feeling jealous, or you're overcome with any of the vices like anger, or you feel like you can't forgive, so you just want to start a new relationship and run away. That's not really going to be tapping into your heart and creating a proper foundation for that new tower to be built. Let's give another example. If you are giving in to an illusion rather than meditating on the truth of your heart, if you think that your heart wants you to move toward that new job because you'll get more money, even though you don't really like that job, but you'll get more money, that is not building a proper foundation that will be sustainable for your tower to be built upon. No. So really make sure that as you acknowledge this rite of passage, is that you are on the other side, that you don't have to be stuck in pain anymore, that it's in your head, and it's time to rebuild your life. That you're going to make the changes you need to make to create a firm foundation rooted in love and rooted in your heart's desires. So, instead, it would look like maybe staying in certain situations, relationships, homes, whatever, leaving things a certain way if it's good for your heart, if it's what your heart really wants. But make sure whatever you're doing is providing a space for your heart to open, like the lotus that it is. And to me, what I feel when I hear that is, I want to make sure that I build my tower in such a way that I move through it freely, in a way that spirit carries me. And I know the only way to do that is to embody a virtuous frequency. Because when I embody the virtues, I'm filled with the light of Source, God energy. And that carries me. So what I would want to do is design my tower in a way that promotes the actualization of the virtues, that gives me opportunities to cultivate virtuous light and then feel it through my being, and also transmit that energy through my being using my senses to actualize this virtuous light and do something in this world with it. So for me personally, like, let's put that in a practical way. How could I actually do that? How can I build a tower that will give me opportunities to be virtuous, right? Gratitude is key. I first of all want to look for anything in my environment that I'm not happy about. Maybe a messy room, or having too many shoes all over. I've got kids, so sneakers everywhere. Having the garbage not taken out and there's that smell and that's bothering me, right? Like anything that's bothering me or making me uncomfortable or not keeping a space of peace and cleanliness, out. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Deep cleaning. And then I would make my environment flow in such a way that it promotes gratitude. It promotes the feeling of peace. Putting on music, putting on an oil diffuser, putting an oil on myself, new bed sheets, moving the furniture around. Maybe hanging little notes and things. Especially for kids, this works really well. I have it in my kids' rooms. They have the 4 agreements up. They have, Judah has like how to say a proper apology and nighttime affirmations and a little chakra book and all these things. So placing little reminders in my environment that trigger my awareness, that bring my conscious awareness into the present moment so that I can play with opening up to virtuous light. So anything that will remind you of these virtues, like patience, honesty, forgiveness, kindness, any of these things, and then just place them all over your house. Jewish people have mezuzahs, and they put them on their doorways, on the doorposts, and you're supposed to acknowledge it before you walk through the doorway, and it is supposed to call your awareness into the moment, honoring the moment, honoring the one, because there's a prayer inside the mezuzah that basically says to remember that God is one. And so it's honoring the highest each time you walk through that doorway, and the door represents an opportunity, a doorway between worlds. So blessing the moment, blessing the opportunity before you enter it. This is something great for the house. Maybe in your home, when you walk in, you have a blessing of protection. Little things like this, reminders that bring your awareness to the present moment to cultivate more virtuous light. However you can do that in your world, in your home, in your workspace, in your car, that's the key. So remember, your ally is meditating on what's inside of your heart, not straying, not being distracted from your path because of some illusion that has you trapped, blinded, confused. Meditating on the heart and staying in that space so that we can stay on track with the rebuilding of this tower, with the paving of a new path, a new way that is now being offered to us as we moved through this rite of passage, past the troubled waters. Now we're on the other side. How are we going to pave this new path? We're going to pave it in a way that it starts in the heart. We build from there, and in that way, it is a sustainable foundation. Thank you guys for tuning in to this first quarter activation. It's a nice rainy gray day, so that's the space that I'm in right now. And I'm just going to enjoy it and let this reading sink in. Again, I just want to say to remember that the numbers today have been 6, 7, and 16. So look for the symbols of these cards. They pop up in your reality. They are universal symbols. So you'll see them not just in your deck of cards, but you'll see them all around you. Symbols of a rite of passage, think about it, write them down. What are some symbols to you that symbolize a rite of passage? Meditating on the heart. What is real? What is illusion? What is a trick? What's trying to distract you? And the Tower, rebuilding anew, starting a new path, a turn of events. Look for the symbols. They're all around you and they're also inside of you. So I'm going to integrate and journal a little bit, and I'll be riding this wave with you guys. And I'll see you next week for the full moon. Shalom.